Good morning, Master Builders. This is Mary Owens, and I'm here to welcome you to Forum 6, Leaving a Legacy, Wealth Building. And today we are so happy that you joined us, and we are going to give you some action steps today to help you to leave a legacy of wealth for your family for generations to come. And at this time, we would like to start with a word of prayer. Bow your heads, please. In the name of Jesus, we thank you, Lord, for all of your goodness unto us. We thank you for another day. We thank you, Lord God, for another opportunity to welcome our Master Builders guest. And we ask you to be with us today. We ask you to be with each presenter. We ask you that the words that come forth, that they will be words of life and that it will help. And so that we can build a legacy, that we can leave a legacy for our families, and that our communities will grow, and that we will strive in this day. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. God bless you.
Welcome. Welcome to Master Builders Academy. Again, we welcome you. Our mission here at Master Builders is to develop people, build businesses, establish financial futures, inspire communities to achieve intellectual and economic renaissance. We are so happy that you're here today for such a time as this. You are truly in the right place at the right time. And we're going to go over our Master Builders core values. And I want you to repeat after me with conviction. Be punctual. Be dependable. Be excellent. Be detailed. Be passionate and motivated. Be optimistic and positive. Be hungry and studious. Be supportive. Be ethical. And be benevolent. Welcome again, and I'm just so excited about today's forum. Today in Forum 6, we're talking about leaving a legacy, wealth building. What is a legacy? Today, you're going to get a blueprint to show you how to build your legacy. When we talk about legacy, we're talking about something that is passed down. We're talking about legacy being a footprint in the earth. It is a mark you leave in the earth. It is your contribution to the world. Legacy is so powerful because you can do something today that will last forever. And you may not know this or not. You're leaving a legacy, whether you know. The question I want to leave with you today, are you being intentional about leaving that legacy? Are you going to be intentional, or are you just going to let anything be passed down on your behalf? Legacy that is built now is experienced later. So if you're going to build a legacy, you have to do it now. So today you're in the right place at the right time to get started on building your legacy.
Good morning, Master Builders. Good morning. Good morning. I am so excited to be here. I missed y'all. Look, it's been a while since I've been up, and it's always an honor for me, always a pleasure to be able to come and to speak to such a fantastic group that you all are. Listen, this topic I am so excited for. Listen, we talking about legacy building, right? We're talking about building wealth, leaving a legacy for your family. And we know that this is so important. This is such a necessary topic for us to be discussing right now. And we have some phenomenal speakers lined up. Look, I'm going to do my piece and I'm going to get out of the way so they can come and do their thing. All right. So today I'm talking about rich versus wealth. Okay. Look, many of us think that's the same thing. What's the difference? Well, I'm going to help you understand that today, along with talking to you about leaving a legacy of wealth. And then I'm going to give you a few tips and pointers on how you can get started today. Okay. Because Master Builders, look, we about it. We don't talk about it. We get to doing, right? All right. So rich versus wealth. Being rich can mean having a lot of money or income. This references the cash on hand or the money in your bank account. Okay. But look at wealth. Wealth is the abundance. All right. Somebody put that word in the comments. Abundance. The abundance of valuable assets or physical possessions, which can be converted, right, into a form that can be used for different transactions. Okay. So typically when we see somebody and we say, man, that person's rich. Why do we say they're rich? It's usually because they have cars or they walking around, they dress to the nines, right? They got they nice clothes on, or they look rich, okay? Right? So usually we say that, right? Or they live in 5 different mansions, right? That's when we say, okay, this person's rich. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you looked at somebody and was like, man, that guy there is wealthy? When was the last time you did that, right? I don't think I've ever looked at somebody and said that. I think I'm going to start, but I don't think I've ever done that. And there's a reason why we typically don't look at somebody and say they're wealthy. It's 2 reasons, actually. One, we tend to use rich and wealthy interchangeably when in fact they are actually different, like I just described for you all. And then 2, wealth cannot be seen. Okay, it's not something that is readily available to the eye. That probably just messed y'all up right there. Okay, so this is why you have to be careful about the people you look to and admire. You're like, oh man, that person, he got a lot of cars. I want to be like that person. He might be in debt, severe debt. Okay, so we need to be careful of the people we admire, and then also be careful of the people who you're writing off. Okay, most of the time, when someone is wealthy, you cannot look at them and tell that. And why is that? Because rich people spend and wealthy people invest. All right, write that down. Rich people spend, wealthy people invest. Okay, we, the us's, y'all know, we have allowed ourselves to believe that if you have a lot of stuff, that means, look, you doing something. You balling, you rich, you got money, your life is set. When in actuality, all it means is that you have spent a lot of money, okay? When you see people with a lot of stuff, it means they've spent a lot of money. So we have to get that in our minds, okay? Rich people have money and wealthy people have assets, all right? So what's an asset? An asset is a useful or valuable thing, person, or quality, okay? Now, you know how we are here at Master Builders. We're not just going to help you get your business started or help you get that promotion on your job. Look, all those things are good, but we are here to help you get your life, okay? You got to get your life, all right? That's what we're here to help you do. Now, I'm about to hit y'all with something, okay? I don't know if y'all ready for it, but we're going to go with it anyway, okay? Wealth is a mindset, all right? I'm going to say that again. Wealth is a mindset, okay? Somebody asked me a question last year, and it really revolutionized the way, asked me 2 questions, revolutionized the way that I think. They said to me, they said, who are you? And I was like, well, I'm Lakeisha. I'm nice. Listen, I couldn't answer the question, or at least I couldn't answer the question confidently. Then they asked me, they said, well, what do you want? And I'm like, I want everything, like groceries, the one car with the wheels, right? I had a very difficult time narrowing down. And this person told me, it's like a lot of times people want everything because they fear being specific. And that hit me. I was like, oh man, right? Because we don't like to fail, right? Because that's how you can really measure, right, whether or not you've been successful. So that messed me up. And so I realized, okay, look, I got some soul searching to do. Now, today, I'm going to ask y'all one question, just one. And shout out to Miss Lisa Phillips. She went live yesterday, and she was talking to this. So this is really good. All right, so here's my question. Who do you think that you are not? Okay? Who do you think you are not? If wealth is a mindset, who are you repeatedly telling yourself that you are not, that you cannot become? Okay? It's time for us to claim our wealth identity, all right? You need to claim your wealth identity. We need to be looking in the mirror telling ourselves, I am wealthy. Okay, you need to take your ID card and get you a new one. All right, get you a new identification card. This new card says, I am wealthy. All right, so we're going to start introducing ourselves. I'm going to say, hello, my name is Lakeisha, and I am wealthy. All right, we're going to get a new mindset, new wealth identity. So it's no more negative talk. Okay, we're not going to say things like, oh, I don't want to be wealthy because I like the simple life. No, my life is simple because I'm wealthy. All right, we're going to change that thing. Remember, wealth is a mindset, okay? I hope y'all getting me. All right. So now I'm going to give you 5 tips that you can use to get your wealth mindset together. Number 1, you have to decide to be financially successful. All right. And that seems simple, but you have to decide this thing in your mind, and then you need to commit to the process and then trust the process. Many people have different opinions on what money is and how it should be used. You have to get clear on what this means to you. Do you just want to be rich? Do you just want to have money and be in the hamster wheel and constantly pursuing it, constantly running after it? Or do you want to be wealthy, right? Where you laying in a hammock and then money's coming to you. Okay, you have to decide which one you want to be. Okay. Dejan, a couple weeks ago, he talked to us about using money as employees, right? Your money is your employee. People who don't have a lot of money, they're the kind of people that's more apt to go buy a lottery ticket because it's the only way they can dream about achieving that financial free life, right? But if you use your resources, your money as employees, you're going to go send it out and it's going to work for you. You're not going to go give it to somebody else, right? You go send your resources to work for somebody else. How are you going to get benefits? How are you going to get the profit? It's not going to work that way, right? So you have to put your resources to work for you. All right. Number 2, determine your life values. Okay. This is so important. You have to determine this for yourself. Family, happiness, freedom, integrity. These things are not worth risking. No matter how big the gain, no matter how much money it is, these things are important for you to be clear on. Okay. I think about the infamous saying, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. You have to have a list of values, core values that you subscribe to in your life. Okay. Number 3, let go of standards and focus on what matters to you. Okay. We should all be making investment decisions based on our goals. But the problem is oftentimes we don't do this. We make decisions based on our generational experiences, right? What my life was like growing up. I was poor when I grew up. So now that I get a little bit of money, I got to go out and spend it, right? This is how we typically do things. We have to switch that thinking, okay? And I talked to you about being careful what you admire and what you look down on. So try not to study specific people. This is very, very important. Study the skill. That's fine. Study what they're doing, but not the person. It's easy to get caught up in, oh man, look at this person, look what they're doing, but they have a why, right? They have a different reason why they're doing what they're doing. So if their why doesn't match with yours, if you go and try to do the things that they're doing, it's probably not going to work for you. Okay, so be clear on what your why is, what you are working towards. Okay, and then this thing of enough, we get it twisted. Okay. And my husband and I, we have different views on what enough is. To me, having enough is, okay, I got toilet paper in the bathroom, then I got like 2 big boxes downstairs too, right? And that's me having enough. But we have to be clear on what this is. A lot of times we feel that having enough means we're poor, or people don't really know how much money we make or something. We don't need to risk what we do have, right? For the things that we don't, and the things that we have and we need, for the things that we don't have and the things that we don't need. Okay, it's very important for us to realize that there is nothing wrong with having enough. There's nothing wrong with living, at your means. Okay, the financial skill that we all need to learn is getting the goalposts to stop moving. We can't just be constantly, oh, I need to buy more. I need to get more. I need to get more. Maybe you need to get more assets, but you don't need to get more things to prove that you have money. Okay, that's not how it works. All right. So accept that you might have enough, and then don't compare yourself to somebody else. Enough is not too little. All right. Number 4, get comfortable with your fears and discomfort and get rid of the what ifs and what nots. I remember when I first started coming to Master Builders, they just threw me up there and was like, well, we want you to speak. And I did good like for the first 2 times. And it was like that 3rd time I was ready. I was prepared. I had a little PowerPoint that I had put together, and I had all my faith in that PowerPoint. I was like, listen, okay, I'm gonna get up here. We get to the venue, the space, and my PowerPoint wasn't ready. I couldn't use it. I had to wing the whole thing. And let's just say I wasn't ready. Okay. I felt like I bombed that whole thing. And it puts a fear in your mind. It's like, oh man, what's going to happen if I try to get up again? What's going to happen if I do this? We have to plan on the plan, not going to plan. All right. So that needs to be part of the plan. And then what if it doesn't go right? Huh? Like you're not going to die. I didn't fall out and die. Right. So we have to understand that it's okay if something doesn't work right. A lot of times we look at failure as this horrible, this thing that's so terrible. But a lot of times failure is just part of the risk of the situation that you're going after. Okay. So we need to switch our thinking in that way. All right. And our last one, number 5, express gratitude and affirm yourself to success. So we got to tap into that wealth identity that we mentioned earlier. Okay. Make sure that you're constantly reminding yourself of who you are and what's going on. All right. And this is the last point that I want to leave you all with. Okay. We have to consider, Bridget was talking about this. Consider your wealth legacy. Understand that your legacy, it may be about you, but it is not for you. Okay. The legacy that you're building, that you're leaving, is for the people that are going to come after you. And then too many of us, we wait. We don't think about our legacy. We just go on throughout life. Understand, you're writing your legacy right now. Everything that's going to be said in your eulogy is based on what your actions are today. Okay. Your legacy is now. The way you structure your life today is going to determine whether or not whatever you set up can be sustained. It's going to determine how your family's going to do, how your jobs, your businesses, whatever you had going on, it's going to determine how those things are going to continue. Okay. So you should be preparing yourself now, preparing your mind now, preparing your children, your family, your businesses, assets. All these things are a part of your legacy. Okay. It's time for us to wake up and start building. All right. All right. That's it. Love you guys.
Oh, master builders. Okay, that was tough. And you know it was tough, just like I know it was tough. Lakeisha said, hold on. Before that, allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is John Mays, and I am wealthy. I want you to repeat your name and put it into there because Lakeisha just showed us that. She just showed us that, and Master Builders lives that. But I want you to live it in your seat right now. I want you to make that enunciation out of your mouth. Just see how it feels coming out of your mouth. My name is John Mays, and I am wealthy. Hopefully you didn't say John Mays, but if you did, I receive it. All right, so we're going to talk to you some about learning and investing, and that being your knowledge and is your return on investment. And so, okay, now I might be arguably too excited about this topic to be able to speak clearly, but hopefully I'm going to be able to slow down enough to be able to articulate how important knowledge is to every single thing that you're going to do, because your wealth comes from your brain and the stuff that comes inside of your brain and how it is manifested into everyday life. And that's what I love about Master Builder Academy, is because we all learning together. We all growing together. Like literally, many of us here was not A students. Many of us here started off with just I'm going to make myself a couple dollars. I'm going to be able to pay my bills and I'm good. That's where we started from. And so now we seeing many of us who are opening businesses. We see us investing. We see us being employers. We see us being able to change and be able to have influence in places we never would have had we not put in the time to learn and grow. So guess what? You winning right now just watching this video and just watching this time and being able to participate. So you are wealthy because the knowledge is in the wealth. All right. So people ask me all the time, they say, John, who is Master Builders for? So I want to unpack that thing a little bit. It's for everybody. But guess what? Also, it's not for everybody. Just flat out, there's some of us who just don't want to learn no more. Like we went through high school and we said, oh, our brains just kind of shut off. And we said, that's good enough. I don't want to learn anymore. And some of us, we went through college and we said, man, I am done. I'm done. I don't want to learn nothing else. I just need a break. I need some time for me. And they just push back like that. Some people might even get a master's degree and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on education and just throw the hands up and say, I'm done. And what we here to say in the theory that we're putting forth before you, that we've seen to work over and over again in those who become very wealthy, is that your knowledge and the lifelong journey of seeking knowledge is going to change your life. Flat out. There is nothing that's going to be out of range for you. And so this is about knowledge that's going to maximize your personal efficiency, and that is going to maximize your income. And so I believe you can do it. I believe you can do it because I know you can learn how to do it. Wealth is learned. You can learn how to do it. Oh man, somebody type that in the chat. I can learn how to do it. You can learn how to have the things that you've been wanting, the things that you've been praying for, the things that you've been shooting for. You can learn how to do it, but it's going to take some action on your part. And that's what Master Builders is about. It's about a group of people who can come together and take action together, encourage each other, and push each other forward. And so from this point forward, since I believe I can, because I'm learning how to do it, and started from there to here in Master Builder Academy, you can now refer to me as John Mays, the I Believe I Can Man. All right, put that in the chat too. John Mays, the I Believe I Can Man. If you say anything else beside I believe I can, I don't agree with you. It's because I believe I can and I believe you can. And so let's do it together. So if somebody gave you $1,000 right now, we're going to ask you a question. Somebody gave you $1,000 right now. Would you know what to do with it? What would you do with it? Just think about it for a second. If you had $1,000, what would you do with it? Okay, so now we're thinking, all right, well, we on a thing talking about investment, talking about business. You probably say, I put it in the stock market, or I do this, or I maybe put it toward a business, a hustle, something like that. Well, if somebody gave you $10,000, what would you do with it? Do you know what you would do with it? You know what you would do with $10,000? Okay, well, some of you do. All right, buy some properties, do some different things. Okay, all right. What if somebody gave you $1 million? Would you know what to do with it? And so now I want you to be really, really honest with yourself. If somebody gave you $1 million, would you know what to do with it? And the fact is, most of us automatically thought about a couple different things. I would pay off this, I would pay off that. You was thinking about, all right, I would save this, I would invest this, and so a millionaire mind will teach you that if somebody gave you $1 million, I need to turn this into $10 million. I need to turn this into $100 million. You can learn how to take that million and turn it into more. That is the job and the relationship that you can have with money to be able to work on your behalf. And that is a learned behavior. It can be learned. Even in the Bible, God didn't give us education just to survive. He gave it to us so that we could thrive. And so when we talk about generational wealth, it can end with us if we don't educate ourselves and pass that education forward. It says in Proverbs 16:6, it's better, much better to have wisdom and knowledge than gold and silver. And so investment in education is something nobody can take from you. Hey, check it out. All these books right here, man, I got those since I've been in Master Builders Academy. It is changing our mind. It's interesting. I realized that I started off watching a couple podcasts and things a week. And this was like 4 years ago. But it was like I would do like one in the bathroom and not listen to stuff as I was brushing my teeth and in the car and different things. So it's probably about maybe an hour a day, probably 6 days a week, not every single day. And I looked up and I said, oh, snap. So I just did a little bit of math just on me in my times when I'm multitasking, driving, sitting down, chilling. Maybe I couldn't sleep, so I throw something on. And now I realized I have about 1,256 hours of real estate podcasts that I've listened to. So in the course of 4 years. And then people say, well, Well, how did you learn to do this? Well, it was free. All I did was listen to how other people do it. And then before you know it, you become an expert. And then when you start talking about this stuff, people understand where you're coming from. And sometimes they don't, because you end up knowing more than the people who taught you, because you constantly educate yourself. And there's power in education. Education can't be repoed. It can't be foreclosed upon. It can't be evicted. It can't be stripped away from you. There's a case for education. And then we'll spend over $100,000, $50,000, $20,000 on student loans in college, learning the theory of education. But now you are in a place right now where if you apply to learning, it will pay itself back. And it's because that learning is going to be learning that is actionable, learning that is going to help us to be able to take action, to be confident, and to be able to move ourselves forward. So invest in yourself. Your bank account will catch up with your brain. Oh man, I love that. Your bank account will catch up with your brain, and learning is what unlocks confidence and reduces risk in investments. I want to tell some real, just straight up stories. So, like, I remember being at Master Builder Academy, and this was in 2016. I knew nothing about real estate investing. Nada. All I knew is I had $11,000 that I had in my bank account, and it was the most money I'd ever had in my bank account, and I knew I was rich. I knew I had made it, and I was ready to fight anybody if they was going to touch this $11,000. So our path was a little bit different. We ended up giving and planting the seed with $10,000 of that money. But what I didn't know, but what I did was I started learning through mentorships. I started learning through books. I took time and started doing those podcasts. I took the hours and watching these different things and learning. And then all of a sudden, it became less scary, and I was able to pursue it personally. And it was nothing scarier than jumping in the first time. But guess what? It took away a lot of the fear just because of the education was there. And so since I was a little bit more educated now, it stripped away enough fear. Like, education breaks through fear. Education and being able to learn will help you to be confident and bold in areas you never thought to be bold. You want to be able to be bold, read a book on a specific topic, and I guarantee you're gonna feel so bold. Get Lisa Phillips' book, $30,000 House Investing in Real Estate for Beginners. It's not a long book. It's like 90 pages. Read it, and I guarantee you're gonna be ready to pursue. You're gonna be confident. You're gonna be ready. And so these are the type of learnings that are going to be actionable, useful for you to be able to reduce the risk of the investment, and it's also going to help to reduce the fear so that we can take action. All right, and then I said, well, I didn't know anything about stocks. I had invested in a couple stocks. I made a little bit of money, but everybody was always telling me how scary I should be and how much money they lost and all this other stuff. So in my mind, there was high risk in stock investing. But then I started learning. And so let me tell you about this right here. I used to make a little bit of money in the stock market, and then once I would make a couple $100, I'd pull it all out and just be celebrating about how great it was. And I didn't realize that what I was doing was terrible and it wasn't right. I was supposed to leave it in there, and it's supposed to grow over time and make trades and all these other things I didn't know how to do because I didn't educate myself. But what I can tell you is just in this last few months, I have spent, I would say, at least an hour a day. And instead of doing all my real estate stuff that I was doing, I learned the formula to learn. Had one of my mentors and friends charged me and said, you need to learn this one trade called a covered option call, and so I learned that one trade. And so I've been sitting here for the last 3 months focusing on how to do one specific type of stock trade. Now I know so much about that stock trade, and know whether the market is up or down, I know how to make a significant return on my money, and it's all because we took 3 months and just said, I'm going to do about an hour a day watching a podcast. I'm going to learn. I'm going to read some chart, all on one specific thing, be good at one specific thing, focusing on one specific thing. I'm an expert on that one specific. And now it's taking the risk out. Confident, and I'm ready to put more money in the market. I can't wait. So if somebody gave me that $1 million right now, I know what to do with it. I know how to make it into $10 million. I know how to do it because I've been able to educate myself. And you can do it too, because I didn't know 3 months ago, but now I know. And so if I can do it, I'm telling you, you can do it too. It's all in learning if you're willing to put in the work, Master Builders, if you're willing to put in the work. And here's another example too. It's like I remember that we had a bunch of bad debt. Me and my wife, our debts were bad, especially when we was married, when we first got married. And so credit was like, 4s, 5s, 100s. I don't even know. I think they give you a certain amount of credit points just for showing up, but they might have took some ours because it was so bad. We had a bunch of stuff on there, and we had like no kind of money. We was always behind a couple checks, and so it was interesting. But we took Dave Ramsey Financial Peace University. And we had all this credit card debt and all these other things. And what it taught us was how to make a budget. It taught us, and we learned how to communicate about money and where we was at. We learned how to not spend more than what we was making. We learned how to put away an emergency fund. So just in case something happened, we would be all right, or something happened with our family, we'd be able to help. And so those are the things that can be learned and then taken action upon. And so those are my real life stories. And I'd say I went from like a 4 something credit to like a 784. And it usually looms somewhere around 700-800. And so that came from learning from Dave Ramsey Financial Peace 15 years ago. And it's like anybody can do that as long as you're willing to put in the work and then take action on those different things. And the same thing happens with the Bible, or if you want to learn how to be physically fit and lose 100 pounds, it's all in the mind. It's all in the learning. You can learn how to do that and be obsessive with it. If you're having challenges as being in your leadership, if you're having challenges in the professional way, you can learn how to change all of those different things, just like financially. So that I'm done making the case for learning. If you ain't got it now, that this is a learning group and that everything we're doing is learning together, growing together, being transparent, opening up about all the different things that we haven't done great, and say we're going to do better. Somebody say, I'm going to do better. Just say it to yourself. Put it in the chat. Say, I'm going to do better. I'm going to learn a little bit more. I'm going to put a little bit of time in there. And I'm going to unlock my mind to be able to see the things that are in front of me that I even believe was for me. Because that wealth is for you. Everything you've been dreaming of is for you, right at your fingertips. All right, so I'm going to give you some stuff. I'm going to give you some free stuff that I use. And then I'm going to give you some paid stuff that I've used. And you don't have to use this stuff, but I'm just telling you what I like because it's helped me out a lot. And so I've obviously watched and listened to a lot of different people. I prefer to listen to podcasts and things than to go in and read books. But I do read books, but I got to read them real quick and I got to be real focused because I get distracted. But the podcast, I can keep my attention. I can run and listen to them, all kind of stuff. So I'm going to give you my best stuff. Hopefully you enjoy it. All right, Tyrone Jackson. Tyrone Jackson. If you want to learn about stock market investing in a way that is not overtly risky, he teaches you how to think about money, how to think about investing, and he shows you step by step in very easy language how to do it. And so that's Tyrone Jackson. It's free on YouTube. Tyrone Jackson. The next one, Earn Your Leisure, EYL. Man, I can't get enough of that stuff because I grew up in a black hip hop type culture, and they speak the language that I understand and listening to. And so they make it easy and simple and approachable when I see people who look like me or from similar backgrounds as me who doing extremely well in their situation. So great about money. And then they got this thing called Market Mondays. Check it out. All right. Bigger Pockets. If you in real estate, money or business, you got to check out the Bigger Pockets podcast. Bigger Pockets. It is tremendous. It is people telling their stories from all over the country, and there's somebody on there whose situation is exactly like yours, and you can be like, oh man, if they did it, I can do it too. And it's going to help to increase your belief. It's going to help to reduce the risk, to help to tear down your fears so that you can achieve all these different things that you've been wanting to do. All right, so Lynn Richardson. Oh man, I don't know if you all know Lynn Richardson, Lynn Richardson. She gonna teach you about budgeting. She gonna teach you about how to think about your spending, how to prioritize, how to mentally, physically, emotionally. She's phenomenal. Specifically recommend her for women, specifically Black women. She's speaking your language. All right, so Minority Mindset. That is a general financial education, minority mindset. Check that one out. The next one is Investor Army. If you're interested in real estate, specifically buy and hold real estate, Investor Army is a real good one. He gives some really good perspective on real estate. Lisa Phillips, she has affordable real estate investing. She's got a whole bunch of videos. Like, you can go to college with just the stuff I'm giving you. Lisa Phillips, affordable real estate investing. This is all YouTube University. This is the stuff I like. Once again, watch at your own risk, and then make sure that you check out the stuff but just give it a shot. Master Builder Academy. Watch these videos. This stuff will change your life. All this information could change your life. Dr. Eric Thomas. He is phenomenal. Dr. Eric Thomas joined us for our MBA Hope Forum, and he gave us some jewels and some nuggets. But I like to listen to Dr. Eric Thomas early in the morning because he'll get your juices flowing, but at the same time, he'll challenge your way of thinking and that you are focusing on and bigger and broader than what you had before. And the last one I'm gonna give you is somebody else I've been watching more recently, but it's David Never Sleeps. And that's all about entrepreneurship and different entrepreneurs in different areas sharing their stories. All right, so those are my top YouTube University. I watch those consistently, and I can tell you some good stuff in there. All right, so there's some programs that have cost. These are the ones that I use. There's a bunch of other ones, but I wanted to let you know which ones I personally use. All right, so for stocks, Tyrone Jackson has a Wealthy Investor Trade School. First month is like $49. After that, it's $99 a month. To me, it's worth it, based on my situation, and it helps to be able to build some confidence and knowledge. And then once I got a level of understanding, you can cut off and do your own thing if you want to. But at the same time, it just helps to take you through a learning track on a specific topic. And so the next one is Boyce Watkins, Black Millionaires of Tomorrow. Boyce Watkins introduced that program to us at the Hope Forum. I went ahead and I jumped in. And so that program is, I think it's about $79 a month, but our whole family sits down for about an hour a week, me, my wife, my 3 children, and we literally get a step-by-step financial education. It's made for children. It still gives me language and my kids language to be able to understand. And so nobody can ever tell my kids that nobody taught them about money. Because guess what? Yes, we did. And it costs $79 a month. And that is going to be the legacy that I'm really looking forward to. Is the knowledge is the inheritance. Because that doesn't matter how much money you give them, how many assets you give them. If they don't know what to do with it or have a healthy relationship and a knowledge of finances early on, then they're going to blow it anyway. So you might as well spend the $79 now. It's the best insurance policy you're ever going to have, is making sure that the people you love have a financial education. All right. So the next one is Lisa Phillips. She has a sub 30K mastermind group. I think there's a very minimal charge for some of the different forums and stuff like that. And she mentioned that last time. She's also got Bitcoin for normal people. Highly recommended. Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, is very scary for me, but I still signed up and I put money in it because she helped me to get past the fear through the knowledge that she shared with us. And then even real estate investing, she makes it seem so approachable and easy that it makes it easy for people to be able to jump in. And then the last one, it cost, I think, $100 at a time, but it was Dave Ramsey, Financial Peace University. If you still getting to the starting line, like that pre-investing point where you just want to get your bills in line, you want to get to a place where you know where your meals are coming from, and you're not having to scramble to pay the light bill and stuff like that. That's the starting line. And to get there, there's no better place than using Dave Ramsey, Financial Peace University. So hopefully those were some practical tips that helped out. Those are the things I use, and I'm encouraging you to find the things that you like to use and then share them with me so I can use them too, and the rest of us here at Master Builder Academy. So we thank you so much. Leave a legacy of wealth. We believe you are going to do it. Stay tuned with Master Builder Academy because we got so much more for you. And now what I'm going to do is introduce you an example of a lifelong learner, one of the most tremendous and newest members of our Master Builder Academy board. I am going to introduce Spencer, as I guarantee you is going to bring the fire, the thunder, and she is going to let you know about how your knowledge is going to impact your pocketbook.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Lakeisha. Thank you, John Mays. Oh my goodness. So here's the crazy thing. I'm going to be completely transparent with you. Goal setting, personal development, this was all foreign to me before Master Builders Academy. I was the one that hated the thought of setting goals. I mean, my New Year's resolution was to not make New Year's resolutions because I knew I wasn't going to keep them. So, for those of you that hate the thought of setting goals, keep listening because I want to help you. When I attended my first Master Builder Academy meeting, and I just want to say this is my anniversary. 3 years ago today is when I started with Master Builders Academy. The speakers were amazing. I was like, man, they're killing it. But I'm the type of person that I love all of the training. I love getting information, but I struggle with execution. So today, so far, you have gotten a lot of information. However, I want you to put it into action. And that's what I'm going to help you with, the execution of it all. So if you can put up my first slide. Romans 12:2 says, and be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. If you have the mindset that I had, ask the Lord to renew your mind, to think differently than how you currently think. We keep hearing about our mindset, and I've been asking the Lord, how? How do you make that switch? Well, here's what he told me. You have to change the input in order to change the output. Let me say that again. You have to change the input in order to change the output. Next slide, please. So the picture on the left is my 296 before picture. The inputs were like Whoppers and Big Macs and cakes and cookies and donuts. I mean, you name it. If you want to change, if I wanted to change how much I weigh and I wanted to weigh less, I have to change what I put on the inside to change what you see on the outside. The same is true for you. If you want wealth, what action do you need to take today, which is the input, to create the result that you want, which is the output? So these are some of the strategies that I have used in order to help me to execute the plan. And you're going to hear some overlaps from John Mays because the same is true. Next slide, please. You have to read books, articles that move you closer to your big goal. So whatever your big goal is, read books that align with that big goal. I heard on a podcast once that if you read just 10 pages a day, you will read like 18 books in a year. Next slide, please. You have to squash the negative self-talk. Self-talk is huge. And this is a statement that I made this up, but it speaks volumes. If repetition is the best teacher, what you repeatedly tell yourself is your reality. I'll give you an example. For years, I would tell myself, I hate to read. I don't know why I was telling myself that. I don't know if it was fear of just pure laziness. I've been telling myself this for years. And now I'm like, what in the world? My son is like, are you a fast reader? I'm like, no, I just set the goal of 10 pages a day, right? So stop telling yourself this negative talk. I'm not a morning person. I'm not this, I'm not that. I'm changing my vocabulary to erase words like what I'm not and what I can do. Just like John May said, I can learn. So change from I'm not a morning person to I can learn to like the morning. If you say I hate to cook, change that to I can learn to cook. So self-talk is huge. So what you repeatedly tell yourself, that's your reality. So start repeatedly telling yourself some better things. I can and what you can do. Next slide, please. Podcast. Where have podcasts been all of my life? Listen to podcasts that align with your big goal. And John Mays gave us an entire list of some amazing podcasts. So I hope you took notes on that one. Next slide, please. Relationships. A friend once told me, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Our friends have a greater influence on us than what we care to admit. I'll give you an example. Back when we were going to places like Golden Corral, if I go with one of my friends that eats healthy, well, I tend to eat healthy as well. But let me go to Golden Corral with one of my friends that eats not so healthy, and what am I doing? I'm eating not so healthy. So be careful. Relationships are so important. Make sure that you have the relationships that will help to align with your big goal as well. Next slide, please. Mentoring. How many times have you heard this one? You should have a mentor in every area of your life of that big goal. I have a real estate mentor. I have corporate mentors. Why? There's just something about seeing someone that is doing what you want to do that impacts your heart. It helps you to make that mind-heart connection and pushes you to action. You can't do it by yourself. If you are nowhere near where you want to be, it's time to seek help. Even if you don't know where you want to be, seek a mentor that is a few levels up from you, maybe in your W-2 job, and then ask them if you can grab like 15 or 30 minutes on their calendar, and then create some thought-provoking questions to maximize your time together. Next slide, please. Social media. Use social media for education, not for entertainment. I know, I just lost some friends on that one. Next slide. All right, I'm about to lose a few more. When you're watching television, you're watching someone else achieve their goals. Ouch. Next slide. Time blocking. Invest time instead of spending time. Schedule time to think. Schedule the tasks that help you to achieve your big goal. Schedule weekly time to evaluate the progress from the previous week. Did you win the day? How does winning the week look like? Did you win the week? What changes do you need to make so that next week is even better? So time blocking is critical. And what you'll find is when you block out time in your life, then you will accomplish so much more than you can ever imagine. Next slide, please. Discipline. I once heard someone say that chances are you don't need more money, you need more discipline. Think about it. If you invest in a piece of property and you were to make $20,000, if you don't have the discipline to use that money wisely, then you're not going to be able to create that legacy that we've heard about. So keep your expenses as low as possible. Meal prep, eat at home. Be thinking about how you can make money instead of spending it. For example, so I'm planning on going to EKU's homecoming in October, and my friends are booking rooms, and I thought, if I spend $600 for a hotel room, and I'm like, can I get an Airbnb together in Richmond, Kentucky by October? So now I'm gone from being a consumer to being a producer. So always be thinking about how you can make money instead of spending money. Next slide, please. Comfort zone. Real success is found outside of your comfort zone. When you're comfortable, you stop learning and you stopped growing. So in conclusion, what has helped me the most with execution is breaking the goal down into bite-sized pieces and focusing on just the one thing. So I've given you a lot today, but what's the one thing that you're willing to do today that will move you closer to the big goal? Once you've mastered that, Then go to the next one thing. Then you will build the momentum that you need to execute any goal. Next slide. Finally, you have to evaluate your strategy regularly. What's working, what's not working, and then pivot where appropriate. So I'm going to give you an example. So in 2020, I had the goal of buying one piece of property. Well, I didn't make that goal. I didn't have a mentor in place. I didn't have anything to help me to accomplish my strategy. In 2021, I have the goal of purchasing 4 properties. So the end of 2020, I got me a mentor and I'm set to accomplish that goal. Initially, my strategy was, let me use my side hustle income in order to make that down payment to purchase my first property. Well, my side hustle in January, I made a couple $100, February, a couple $100, and I was like, wait a second, you're not about to accomplish your goal with this strategy. So I had heard people talking about pulling out money from your 401k in order to have the down payment to purchase rental property. And I was like, nope, not doing that, too risky. And then I heard it again. And then I was like, well, let me just see how much money I have in my 401k. I call them up and I'm like, oh, okay. So when I made that call in November of how much money I had in my 401k, by the time March came, in order for me to pull out the money, I was able to pull out what I needed for the down payment of my rental property and still have the same amount from November. That's how much it had grown. So what I'm saying today is, just because you thought you were going to accomplish the goal with one strategy, if that's not going to work, pivot. Don't pause. Just pivot the strategy to make sure that you're going to accomplish the goal that you set out for. And my last slide. All right, so these are the items that I've given you today. And I just want you to recap and just look at this and look at these strategies. What's the one thing that you will do today? And then add another and add another. And eventually you will accomplish the goals that you set out to. Execution is key. Thank you so much. Now I'm going to turn it into the hands of Brother Michael Ford.
Miss Dana, listen to me. She was on fire. And I am so excited about what Miss Dana is talking about. She did an awesome job. And I'm going to tell you something. She said she's in her 3rd year as a master builder. And it's funny, in 3 years, she's talking about she's going to have 4 properties. In 3 years, Dana is the expert that's teaching us this morning. And I'm just trying to tell you, I'm so excited. I just want to let everybody know, will somebody just join me for a second and just put in the chat that Dana is a star. I'm just telling you, you're going to be so happy that you got to know Miss Dana Spencer. You know why? Because she's a star. And I want to just invite everybody. Remember, we have the after party today. As soon as we're finished with the forum, we're going to jump on the Zoom call for the after party. And these same people that you have heard speak, you'll be able to talk to them and gather some more information. Listen, some of the best information that's passed happens on the after party. And I just want to just let you know, let me just say, Miss Dana said something. She told us, she said, you need to squash the negative self-talk. And I'm telling you, it's true. Everybody, we hear it from everywhere. As soon as you say, I'm going to do something, somebody comes and says, you're not going to do that. You can't do that. And you know who the #1 culprit is? You, your worst enemy. As soon as your mind tells you, I think I can do it, then your other part of your brain says, you can't do that. That stuff's risky. You can't do that. Listen to me. How long are you going to be satisfied with the status quo? How long are you going to be satisfied We're doing the same old, same old. Somebody say, please, somebody please put in the chat, say, I'm tired of the old me. I'm ready to step it up. Come on, somebody say, I'm tired of the old me. And I'm telling you, she said, you got to squash the negative self-talk. I love the other thing she said. She said, change vocabulary from I can't to I can't, from I won't to I will. Miss Dana and John have hit us with so many things to tell us we need to study. We need to read books. Now, let me tell you something. Let me just be honest with you. Can I confess? Let me just confess. I was one of those people that said, I don't like to read. But it's funny. I said I don't like to read, but then I started reading. And you know the trick? John gave it to you. The biggest trick is, I've read 4 books already this year. You know how? I got them on audio. I got the audio book. Man, the guy reads it for me. You can't beat that. I can sit in my car, and sometimes I'm going for an hour in a day, 2 hours of driving. By the end of the day, I done read a book. Listen to me. It's simple now. It's free now. You can go on YouTube University and get everything that you need. So I'm just telling you, thank you, Miss Dana Spencer. You are a star. We appreciate you. And I want to just encourage everybody. Listen, we just getting started. We got our last speaker today. I wanted to let you know. We didn't listen. We're not playing with you. We're trying to help you grow your business. We're trying to help you grow your portfolio. We're trying, listen, Keisha said, we're trying to move you from rich to wealthy. All right. And so today we brought in a professional. All right. We brought in another expert, Mr. Edwin Fox. He's a financial professional. He deals in all kinds of investment services. He's here to teach us some relevant strategies, to talk to us about how we can move and leave our families a legacy of wealth. And so I want to bring him on. Listen, you can hear Mr. Fox every Wednesday on WLLV, 1240 a.m. on the radio. At 1 p.m. on Wednesday, he hosts the local radio show Money Sense. Right now, he's an entrepreneur. He's an investor. I want you to get ready. I know your hand is tired from all the writing you have done so far, but I want you to give it up and be ready for Mr. Edwin Fox.
Thank you, Pastor Ford. I'm excited to be here today. I've heard a lot of important information from the previous speakers. Matter of fact, I attended Dave Ramsey 20 years ago. I've been a financial professional for 23 years. Pretty much my business, my clients are African Americans, and everything that everybody said is important. Following through. When I became a financial professional 23 years ago, and at that time, the stock market was $11 trillion market. Today, it is now a $50 trillion piggy bank. And back then, in '98, when I got into this career, I think African American spending was about $300 billion. Now let's say African American spending is $1.4 trillion. So over these next 10 years, African American will have an opportunity to build wealth just like in the past. But going forward, building that generational wealth, and you can build generational wealth in a 10-year period of time. Why did I say that? If you look at the history of the last bull market, which, ended last year in February when we went into a recession, if you look at that, from 2008, when we had the last recession ended, through 2020, when the recession ended, the S&P 500 went up over 400%. That has happened over the previous 2 decades, over 400%. Now, that's not saying you're going to get to 400% in your investment strategy, and that has an impact on real estate. You know, real estate prices started to accelerate as recovery, and I think we are in a recovery. So yeah, the time is right for building wealth. The knowledge is there for building wealth. You just got to decide what your focus, what your goals are. And I'm an EKU graduate. I think I heard Dana saying that she's going to it. I'm an EKU alumni. As a matter of fact, I'm from Richmond, Kentucky, from a small town. And I'll say this: when I first went to college, I was going to be a TV repairman, and I did some other things in my life too. So you just never know where God's going to take you. But starting with what I'm here to talk about is guide to building generational wealth. And I've seen people go through generational wealth. I've settled my family when my mother and father died. I settled their estate. Thank you. And I had an auntie that passed away in Cincinnati, Ohio, 104. She had assets of about 146,000. I put it together. We kept her at home. When it was all over, her house was worth $60,000. Her son moved into that, and then her son, she left it to her son and her 2 grandsons, and he paid them out. But that all happened because she had estate planning. That's why that happened. She had a plan. She had a will. She had burial insurance, prepaid burial insurance. All of that I was involved in putting together, putting it in an envelope, putting a label on it, putting it in a metal box. So when that day came, she had everything together, and I played the role, and I had another cousin up there that I got her involved in being sure. So what is estate planning? Simply stated, estate planning is a method of determining how to distribute your property during your life and at your death. Is a process of developing and implementing a master plan that facilitates distributed property after your death according to the goals and the rules. All right. And that's really important. When my mother and father did their will, she shared it. Both of them shared it with my brother. And I think that's real important. And if you move to the next one, at death, when you, moving forward, at death, you leave behind the people that you love. If you go to that next one on it, and it's real important that without advance, you got to have some kind of planning. At death, you leave behind the people that you love and all the worldly goods. And it's important to plan and to know where your properties are going to go. And I'll share with this. My home place in Richmond that me and my brother and we grew up in now is owned by my cousin. I sold it to my cousin. Okay, and matter of fact, the house that was across the street from where my father lived in, that's sold to one of my cousins. And then I had another cousin next door that had a house to her house. And that house is in the ownership of a cousin of mine. So the 3 houses on the block, which one of them I grew up in, the one across the street my father grew up in, and then I had a cousin next door grew up in, all 3 of those properties are generation wealth because now a cousin owns those properties. They are all rental properties now. Okay. So that is real important. And it comes down to the next step we got to think about is what are your goals and objectives? That's the next step we got to think about. What are your goals and your objectives? To formulate a successful plan, you got to have a clear process. Let's face the fact, we're only here for a short period of time. I mean, this is how it works. I'm 64 years old. I got fewer days in front of me than behind me. So we are only here for a short period of time. So we got to have clear goals on discussing your state, your feelings, your desires. What are your goals you considered? Providing financial security for your family. I was in a business, just to have an idea, when you say providing financial goals for your family, ensuring that your property is preserved. 25 years ago, I had a business in the West End, and at that time, my son was 6 and my daughter was 2. I was carrying $1 million of insurance. Okay, I was carrying $1 million insurance that I wanted to be sure that if something happens to me, that it would pay for their college, it would pay off the house, and then leave my wife a chunk or some funds. So that's one of the reasons. And then the other goals is I've seen families have disputes over assets when people die. It breaks them up. Avoid disputes among family businesses, owners, third parties. Provide your children and grandchildren education. I think that's real important. I just set up a trust with another cousin in Ohio, and that was one of the things we put in there, that they get some money for their child's education. That's important. And also providing to charities, that if you want to leave some money to the church, that's important. Maintaining control and ensuring that management of the property in case, let's say you get sick or whatever, is important, setting these goals. Minimizing estate taxes and definitely avoiding probate. That is important too. Providing adequate liquidity for settlement of your estate. I've had situations where a client passed away all of a sudden, and it was up to me to make a call to the funeral home to verify that they had the assets here, but I couldn't release the assets until I got the death certificate. And then sometimes I have actually electronically transferred funds to pay for the funeral for a client. So I've done that before. But the good news was they had the assets to pay for the funeral. And I always say that if you don't have life insurance, which you should have, but if you don't have, you need, especially if you wait till after retirement to think about that, especially set up an account and at least put your $10,000 in that for your funeral. One of the nicest gifts you can leave, leave your family when you die is a estate in order, planning according to the wishes. And let me say, with a guardian designated for your children, I'll say this: back when I had the business, it was a challenging business. We went on, set up a will, and this was probably when I was 42, 43. We set it up a will, and we designated my sister-in-law just in case something happened to both of us. I think that was very important. So that is one of the things you need to set up. If you have children, that minor children, you need to think about that and look at that. The other thing I would say, and I'm kind of trying to get through on time because I know I had a lot in there. One of the sad things about it, and I talk to my clients, and still I got clients that come in that don't have a will. 60% of the people die without a will, and I've had situations where that has happened. And I've talked to them about the will, and a year or two later they pass away, and sometimes that creates a lot of family conflict. So it's important to find somebody to do a will, and I think it's important also, I believe personally, that once that will is developed, that your children should have some knowledge of what's in the will. That's what I did with both my kids, and that's what my mother and father did when they did a will. 40 some years ago, they shared it with both me and my brother. But if you die without a will, it goes to probate court. And I think probate courts here in Kentucky can get up 4.5% of it. Then also, if there's a conflict, the court will appoint an administrator, which you need an administrator or executive to the state. And then also looking at a guardian for minors. I had to be a guardian for my last aunt that passed away a couple of years ago because she had Alzheimer's. and me and my brother became joint guardians for her, being sure she was taken care of. So these are important issues of understanding what your goals and your objectives are, selecting a executive, and thinking about nominating a guardian for your child. These are very important goals leading up to the will. And, a will is a legal document that allows you to determine how your estate is distributed after your death. Who's going to own the home? Are both brothers going to own the home? Who's going to own the car? Who do you want the jewelry to go to? My mother had pictures in her will of who she wanted the furniture to go to. She had certain things that she wanted to go to my son and my daughter, which they got it. This was all important. I got a big Tigerwood dining room table at my house that she wanted me to have. My brother got the bedroom suit that my grandmother and grandfather slept in. Okay. These are all part of this will, this legal document that allows you to determine how a estate is distributed after death. In addition to saying who gets what, it allows you to name an executive for your estate and designate a guardian if you had minor children. It would also provide an opportunity to minimize estate tax and probate costs. You can control the distribution of the estate and avoid difficulty, potential difficulty by drawing up a will. I'll be the first one to say, I still have clients that don't have wills, that think they don't, for whatever reason. Now, I think the other problem is finding a lawyer to draft that will. It is challenging today on that relationship with that. I tell a lot of people now, ask the pastor at the church, does he know a lawyer? A lot of times, lawyers go to church just like everybody else. So, looking forward, thinking about this will. Now, if you have the next slide, please. Okay, selecting an executor. I think that's really important. Somebody that you really trust, that's going to follow through with what you want to do. And let me say this, I've seen situations where somebody died, they have a will, family was going in, taking out the mink coat, taking out the jewelry. And I would say, wow, just taking stuff. That's why you need an executive. You need somebody that will represent you after your death, selling your estate. You want an executive to be someone you trust, who has the necessary knowledge and experience to oversee your affair. Matter of fact, I just set up a trust for some relatives on my wife, not on my sister-in-law side, because they are mentally disabled, and I just set up 2 trusts. So they'll have some money, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, once the sister's gone, but the other 2 sisters are younger and have some mental issues, we'll still have some money. I just did that. So it's important to do these kind of things. If you, and again, when you say you designate an executor in your will, if you don't, the court will appoint one. And that's not a good thing. He or she is called the administrator. With a court-appointed administrator, you have no say in how this is going to be managed, how your final affairs are going to be settled. Also, the executive administrator is entitled to a fee from your estate for the service, he or she. Now, I was an executive, my brother's executive, we split everything. But some places, and if you do a close memo, they often waive the fee. I saw a situation not too long ago where a brother was bringing another brother back here because he was sick. And before the plane landed at Muhammad Ali Airport, he passed away on the plane. But he had told his brother what to take care of the business, and he told his brother what he wanted him to have financially from Settled Estate, and the brother did it. He called me for advice several times. his brother took the last breath as he was landing at the airport here in Louisville. And he was the administrator. He went out to California, brought him back, and he took his last breath when he was landing here in Louisville, Kentucky. So that's what you want to do. The other thing is a conservative, or guardian conservative for a minor child is important, especially if you have young children. That if your child still minor, when you die or your spouse doesn't survive, you need someone to raise that child. And you got to nominate a guardian in your will, which we did, versus the court appointing somebody. So that's really important also, that you nominate. Looking at a trust. Not everybody needs a trust. I would say I've probably been involved maybe between 10 to 15 trusts over these last 23 years. And some of them I found issues with the trust. And I'm not a trust expert, but they do offer seminars, and I've been to several about trust, read about trust, the whole lot. A trust is a separate legal document that holds assets, or entity that holds assets, then are used to benefit one or more people. This could be you, your spouse, your children. It could be family members. It could be friends. It could be a charity, the whole 9 yards. Not everybody needs a trust. Everybody needs a will, but not everybody needs a trust. There are different types of trusts that serve different purposes: marital trust and charitable trust. Those are the basic ones. But a trust, you need an attorney, and a trust is something you need an attorney that has a good track record. A typical trust can run you from $2,500 to $5,000. Some of them can be more than that. So not everybody needs a trust. Okay. So, but if you have a lot of real estate, or as they say, you have a higher net worth. Now, I will say this, and this is part of it, building this generational wealth, or passing along this generational wealth. You got to educate your kids about wealth. I can say for a fact, my son, when he was in the 5th grade, I showed him my 401k, or our 401k. My daughter in the 7th grade, I showed him or showed her my 401k. Both of them have seen our will. So, we want generational wealth, but you got to prepare your kids for that generational wealth. I'll share this story with you. And this was told to me 20 years ago. A guy came in and said that when his father passed, he didn't have no idea how much money, and it was over $300,000. So each of them got $100,000, but they wasn't prepared. He said his $100,000 didn't last 12 months because he had no idea his father had accumulated that kind of wealth. So when it was time to pass that generational wealth, when that time came, he wasn't prepared for it. Okay, wasn't prepared for it at all. So you got to prepare your kids for generational wealth. You can't keep secrets about your 401k or your wealth or properties you own. They need to know about that. All right, life insurance. Life insurance is a contract between an insurance company, a policy owner, which can be used to insure or for a separate party, and is insurable. The policy agrees to make a premium. The policy owner makes a premium payment, and the insurer agrees to provide a sum designated to a third party, the beneficiary, upon your death. There's a lot of insurance products out there. I'll say this, and if you go to the next one, please. A lot of insurance products were designed to benefit the wealthy. Okay, a lot of insurance products were designed to benefit the wealthy. Personally, I've been a term insurance person all my life. Okay, and you have whole life. So these are some of the areas you need to look at. how much you need to replace your salary, how much you think it's going to cost to send your kids to college, how much you think you need to pay off your loans or pay off your house. These are important parts. I would say take a look at both those areas. Understand how whole life, understand how term, understand how variable life, understand all those products, and check them out before you make a decision. You got the Department of Insurance that you can get help for. So I'm hoping that this information will help you make better decisions on generational wealth. And with that said, you see, I think I've run out of time. So I hope this is helpful. Like I say, term life and whole life. I'm focused term life. The other thing I'll say is term life. You can get 30 years. Thank you.
Mr. Fox, thank you so much. We really appreciate you. Everybody, I know you're going to have a ton of questions for Mr. Fox. He's going to join us in the after party. And one of the things I want him to deal with is this, mentioning how this thought about us going to probate court after our death. Like, how is that affecting us? You mentioned the fact that it's 4.5%. Right off the top that's going to go. You also mentioned about us getting hit with a state tax when we don't have the proper will. So I want people to see and understand that. And so one of the things I want everybody to understand is with Master Builders Academy, what we want to do is give you, Mr. Fox said it, a master plan, right? Estate planning is master plan. Like, we can't just piecemeal this. And another thing that he's brought up like 3 or 4 times, that we all need to understand this. You building wealth without teaching your family members is going to be a problem. All right. You all need to make sure, all of us, as we're growing, we must teach our children about the growth. Like, estate planning and leaving a legacy also means leaving that legacy of knowledge and understanding, so that when we pass our children and our grandchildren these new seeds that take them to the next level, then they also have the knowledge and understanding to go to the next level. And I know you all have 100 questions for Mr. Fox, and there's a number of different things I want him to get into. I want him to talk about the wills. I want him to talk about the insurance, and also the I believe it was you mentioned it, and I can't think of what it was called now. The trust. I want him to talk about the trust. So see him in the after party. As soon as this ends, Miss Keisha is going to come on now, and she's going to give you that information. But I want to thank Mr. Fox. I want to thank everybody in the after party. You're going to be able to meet Mr. John Mays. You're going to, excuse me, I'm sorry, the Mr. John, the I Believe I Can Mays. All right, you're going to be able to meet Miss Lakeisha Morris. You're going to be able to meet Miss Dana Spencer. So I want you to get there, and I want you to listen to Miss Keisha. She's going to tell you how to become a member of Master Builders Academy. God bless you, everybody.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome. We're so glad that you all decided to stay with us this morning for Master Builders Academy. I am Keisha Reed, and I am wealthy. I just want everybody just to remind you all, if you weren't able to see it, if you have family members who need to hear this information, share it. We don't want to keep it all to ourselves. Wealth is making sure that we're all wealthy, family members included. So share that with your family, your friends, anybody. Share it on your social media. They'll need to hear it as well. So everybody who has come, I just want to let you know how you can be a member as Master Builders Academy. We want to give you the opportunity to join us and be a part of the family. First, if you're an adult, you can join at $100. It's $100 for each adult. If you're a student, you get $50. So if you want to go ahead and join, you can go ahead and email Master Builders Academy. The email is masterbuildersmba@gmail.com. We'll have that down. If you've been on all this entire broadcast, you'll see it streaming across. So hopefully you snag that email so that you can email. When you join Master Builders, there's a lot of things that come with it. And I know it's exciting when we get to join something, we get all the perks. So I just want to tell you a little bit about some of the perks. When you become a member, when you become, not if, when you become, you get the opportunity to have your business highlighted on MBA platforms. That's all our platforms. And of course, we as Master Builders are going to put it on our own platforms and boast you as well. Also, you have access to all the materials presented in the forums. So these forums right here, you can go back and look at it, the information that you receive, PowerPoint, anything. If you've missed, when you become a member, you have access to that. Also, invitation to join our private members only Facebook page. You heard that, private only. You have to be a member. So if you want to be a member, you want to see all the good stuff we have going on, you have to go ahead and become one at $100 or $50 if you're a student. Also, you have the invitation to join our after parties. So after parties is after every forum, and it's a great time, everybody. So I hope y'all just are excited and welcoming and ready to have your questions answered when we come to our after party. Also, you get the VIP status at our 2021 Hope Forum. If you've never seen our Hope Forum, it's a great time. It's so much information, so much stuff that you can just a great amount of wealth that you can take in. So I just hope that everybody becomes a member immediately and go ahead and sign up. Again, that is Master Builders Academy, MBA@gmail.com. And just how we have our members, I just want to highlight our new members. We have a wealth of new members today, and we're so excited for them. And our new members are Lisa Phillips. Everybody say hi, Lisa. So that's our new member, as well as Denise Gray. Welcome, welcome, both of you. We're so glad to be a part of the Master Builders family. So just as we start our all of our meetings and all of our forums, we start in prayer. We want to end in prayer as well. So thank you, Lord, for allowing us to come together this afternoon, well, this morning, and being able to join one another and share this wealth of information, Lord. We thank you, Lord, because we know there is something in here, Lord, that has touched us all that we didn't know. And Lord, what I pray and hope that each and every individual who's on this call and on any broadcast who hears it now or later takes from this is that understanding wealth is a mindset, Lord, and it's not about the money and the funds that we all have. It's an asset, God. It's an asset that we need to have. We need to leave wealth for ourselves as well as wealth for our generations to come and their children. So, Lord, we just ask you to touch our minds, touch our understanding, our intellect, Lord. Help us to go forth and do the things that we've said we're going to do to make one goal right now that propels and advances the goals that we have already set, Lord Jesus. We thank you and we give you glory and honor for everything that you're doing. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. And last but not least, join the after party. The after party is going on immediately after right now. And because we're all family now, I'm going to share the wealth and invite you all. I want y'all all to be a part of it. So join the after party. See you later.